Darkness didn't just fall on the venture, it rose from beneath them. As the diving bell lurched upward, escaping the collapsing pressure pocket of the Mourning Star, the sea turned a bruised, violent purple. Brandon was inside the bell, gasping for air, his eyes wide and unfocused. He had made it out before the door slammed shut, but he hadn't come back alone.
Get him to medical. Andrew, seal that bell. We've got a structural breach in the moon pool.
In Brandon's shaking hands was the only thing he had managed to grab from the captain's desk, a heavy, leather-bound book. It was cold, colder than the surrounding seawater, and it smelled of salt and old blood. The captain's log of the Mourning Star. While Brandon was sedated in the medbay, Captain Lewis and Sarah, the historian, sat in the bridge's sterile light. They placed the log under a magnifying lamp. The leather was damp, but the pages inside were bone dry.
The ink is iron gall. It should be faded, Lewis. But look at this. It's as black as the day it was written. October 14th, 1712. We have entered the latitude of silence. The stars have stopped moving, and the men speak of a shadow that swims beneath the hull.
Sarah flipped the pages. The handwriting was elegant at first, then became frantic, the letters jagged and sharp.
October 20th. The tide has begun to glow in the hold. It's not gold, it's an invitation. The Tide-Stalker has claimed our shadows. One by one, the men look into the water and see their own deaths. Today, the cook jumped overboard. He didn't sink. He walked across the water until he disappeared into the mist.
Captain Lewis reached out to touch a name mentioned in the log, Quartermaster Silas Thorne. But as his finger grazed the parchment, the ink shivered.
Sarah, did you see that? The ink. It's moving.
In real time, the letters of the 18th century crew began to dissolve. The black ink swirled like oil in a puddle. It bled across the page, erasing the names of men dead for 3 centuries. In their place, new letters began to form. New names.
That's not possible. Lewis, look at the bottom of the page. It's writing Chief Engineer Andrew Miller.
And, oh God.
Lewis, look at the next line.
Underneath the engineer's name, the book began to write, Captain Lewis Vance. Status claimed.
Close the book, Sarah. Close it now.
The ship's intercom crackled to life. It was Andrew, the lead tech, calling from the engine room. His voice didn't sound like his own. It was hollow, echoing, as if he were speaking from the bottom of a well.
Cap, you need to see the log, not the one you have. My log, my maintenance records. They've changed.
Lewis and Sarah ran to the engine room. They found Andrew sitting at his terminal, his eyes fixed on the screen. The digital text on his monitor was liquefying, the pixels dripping like ink down the glass.
It's not just the book, Cap. It's the ship. The Venture is being rewritten. I looked at the hull plates, The steel is turning into oak. I touched the wall, and I felt a pulse.
As they watched, the steel bulkhead behind Andrew began to ripple. The heavy industrial paint bubbled and peeled away, revealing ancient, dark wood underneath. The smell of tobacco and rot filled the room. Lewis grabbed Andrew to pull him away from the wall, but Andrew didn't move. He felt like stone.
It says I'm next, Cap. The log. It needs a new quartermaster.
Suddenly, the lights on the Venture flickered and died. In the emergency red glow, the logbook Sarah was holding fell open to the very last page. It was no longer a journal. It was a mirror. On the page, a hand made of ink reached out, grabbing Sarah's wrist. A voice whispered from the shadows of the engine room, the same voice Brandon heard in the wreck.
The tithe must be paid in blood and bone. Sign the book is Sarah.
The episode ends as the ship's hull groans with the sound of 1,000 splintering trees. The Venture is no longer a modern salvage vessel. Half of it is steel, the other half is 18th century wood. They are merging.
The ocean is rewriting history, and the crew of the Venture is the new ink. If you want to see who signs a book first, you need to subscribe and hit the bell. Next time, in episode 4, the sea of glass, the ocean turns into a mirror, and a reflections start coming up for air.